Hi everyone, welcome to Techie World. So today we are going to dive deep into the fundamental concept of access modifier in Java. Access modifier plays a crucial role in controlling the visibility and accessibility of the class, fields, methods and constructor in your Java code. There are four fundamental or rather primary access modifiers in Java and each serves a specific purpose. Okay, so what are the four fundamental access modifiers in Java? First one is public, second one is private, third one is protected, and fourth one is default. So let's go through the each of the access modifier one by one and let us try to understand what are these access modifiers and where it can be used. But before that, let us understand why access modifiers are required. So I already told you that access modifiers are required because it controls the visibility of your class, methods, variables, and the constructors, right? But why you need to control the visibility of your classes, methods, variables, and so on? So choosing the right access modifier is actually very crucial for maintaining the code security and the organization. It helps prevent the unauthorized access and makes your code more manageable and promotes best practices in Java development. So let us say you are writing a class and you don't want that class to be accessed by anyone else. Then you can make that class as a private. Okay. Let us say you are writing a method in a class which is handling a lot of transactions or rather which is actually handling the user sessions. So you don't want to manipulate the user session, right? So in that case, you can make that method as a private. So we'll discuss all this access modifier one by one in this video. So let's start with the public access modifier. It is the most permissive access modifier that we have in the Java. Most permissive means it basically means that if a method or class is a public, then it can be accessed from anywhere in your application, whether it is available in the same package or outside the package. Okay, that's why public access modifier is called most permissive access modifier. Also, when a class or method or variable is marked as a public, then it can be accessed from anywhere that I already told you. Let's have a look on some of the theoretical part about public access modifier and then we'll see a code snippet to understand the public access modifier. So the first point about public access modifier, which I already told you is, it is the most permissive access modifier in the Java. Most permissive means if a class or variable or method is a public, then it can be accessed from anywhere in your application. Okay. The second point about public access modifier is when a class, method or variable is marked as a public, it means it can be accessed from anywhere within your code, even from outside the packages where the class resides. That's what I already told you about public access modifiers. Now have a look on this code snippet and then we'll understand how this works. So let us say if you have a class called public and then in the public class we are writing a method which is also a public. Okay, that name of the method is public method and we are trying to print simply this is a public method and then closing braces. So for instance, here public class, it can be accessed from any other class, even those that are available in a different package. Okay, so that's how public access modifier works. Okay, if a class or method or variable or constructor is a public, then it can be accessed from anywhere in your application. Okay, that's why it is called most permissive access modifier. Now let us move to the second access modifier, that is private access modifier. So private access modifier is kind of opposite to the public access modifier. Private access modifier can be defined as the most restrictive access modifier available in Java. And also we can say if a class or methods or variables or constructor is a private, then it can be accessed only within the class where it is available. Okay, so if you make a method private, then that method can only be accessed in that class and not outside the class. So let us have some of the theoretical part about private access modifier and then we'll see a small code snippet to understand private access modifier. So the first point about private access modifier is it is the most restrictive access modifier, and the second point about private access modifier is it keeps your class members hidden from other classes, allowing access only within the same class. That's what I already told you. Any member of the class which is made private can only be accessed within the class. That's why if you remember the singleton design pattern, in the singleton design pattern, how you make the class singleton? You make the class singleton by making the constructor private, right? So that the constructor cannot be accessed from outside and nobody can create the object of that class. And that's how you achieve the singleton design pattern. In singleton design pattern, what do? We actually create one object of the class and nobody is allowed to create the object of any other object of the class. So only one object creation is permissible for the singleton class, and that's how you achieve with the help of private constructor. Now please have a look on this code to understand private access modifier in a better way. So if you see here, you have a private example class which is public, but the fields available in the class private field. And let us say you have a private method also. Now, if you try to access this private method, or rather this private field, that is int private field, then this cannot be accessed from outside the classes. That's the whole purpose of making any class member as a private. So if you want to write something which can be accessed only within the class, then you can make that class member as a private. Okay. Now let us move to the third access modifier, that is called protected. So protected access modifier actually falls between the public and the private. Okay. It is neither the most permissive as the public is, nor the most restrictive as the private is. It falls between these two. So you can say it's like a compromise between public and private members marked as a protected. And protected members can be accessed within the same package by the subclasses regardless of whether they are in the same or different packages. Okay, so if you make a class member as a protected, it can be accessed from the same classes, it can be accessed from the different classes available in the same package, and it can be accessed by the subclasses which are available in the different package also. So the protected member doesn't have the visibility in the different package, but if that package is containing any class which is actually a subclass of the particular class, then that protected member can be accessed there. To understand this in a better way, first let's have a look on some of the theoretical part about the protected access modifier, and then we'll see the code snippet to understand protected access modifier. So the first point about protected access modifier is it is like a compromise between the public and private. This is what I already told you. Okay. The second point about protected access modifier is members marked as a protected can be accessed within the same package and by subclasses regardless of whether they are in the same or different packages. Now let's have a look on this code snippet. Let us say you are in a package called my package and where you have a base class called base class and you have a protected method which is printing this is a protected method. Okay. Now let us say you have another class which is extending the base class and it is available in a different package. You can see here my sub package, but that subclass is actually extending the base class that you already written in a my package. So you can see these two classes are available in a different package, but you can always access the protected method available in the parent class even if it is available in the different package. Okay, so that's the purpose of the protected access modifiers. Now the last one is default access modifiers. So let's move to the default access modifiers. Finally, there is a default access modifier. When no modifier is specified, it is also known as package private. It allows access within the same package but not from the classes in other package. Okay, so if a class is default, okay, if the scope of the class is default, then you cannot access that class from outside the package. That's why it is called package private. Okay, so default access modifier can also be called as package private. So let's have a look on some of the theoretical part about default access modifier, and then we will see a small code snippet to understand this. Okay, so the first point about default access modifier is when no modifier is specified, it is known as package private or rather default access modifier. The second point about default access modifier is it allows access within the same package but not from the classes in other package. Okay, so if you remember what I told you, for the public it can be accessed from anywhere, private it can be accessed only in the class, protected it can be accessed within the same package and outside the package also, but only if it is a subclass. Here in case of default access modifier, it cannot be accessed outside the package. Now let's have a look on this code snippet. So let us say you are writing class default example, and there you are trying to write a default method where you are trying to print this is a default package private method. So here if you see, you are not writing any modifier along with the classes. Like you used to write private class default, right? Or public class default or protected class default. But since you are not writing, it can be considered as a default access modifier applied to the class. And then within that class, you are writing some method which is printing something. Okay. So here you can see a class with the default modifier can be accessed by other classes in the same package, but not from the classes in a different package. Okay. Because this default will not have the visibility outside the package. So that's all for today, and I'll be posting more such informative video on this channel. So if you found this video helpful, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.